Join me for a brief flow to help nip sciatica in the bud. Beginning seated, you're going to bring one knee to your chest and crossing the foot over. Be careful not to tip the pelvis too much towards the grounded foot, keeping the pelvis really even as you try to sit very tall. Then rotating your spine slightly towards the lifted knee, coming to a gentle forward fold, keeping your spine long. It helps me to hinge a couple of times forward and back, and then gently holding for a few seconds. Rotating the spine back to center, apply a little bit of pressure to the lifted knee, and come into a forward fold. Breathing deep as you try to keep your spine really elongated. Slowly changing legs, again keeping the pelvis very even as you elevate your left knee and cross your left foot over. Again, not bringing in that right knee to compensate. And again, coming slightly forward as you keep that left knee lifted. So you can really target the piriformis here, and then rotating the spine slightly to the left, hinging a couple of times before you hold for a few deep breaths in that gentle rotated forward fold. Then coming back to center, applying a little bit of downward pressure on the knee, coming into a forward fold. I'm much tighter on this side, hence my lack of forward fold. And then we're coming onto your back, slowly taking some kind of tool with which you can give your legs some resistance. A scarf or a belt is great. Here I'm using a yoga strap. And we're gonna bend and straighten that knee as you really try to keep the pelvis super neutral. That is, maintaining that dropped tailbone feeling. This will really target the hamstring as well, making sure you have that neutral curve at the waist. Then we're gonna go ahead and add some spinal flexion. These nerves run all the way up and down your spine, so adding spinal flexion not only deepens the curve on your hamstring, but also adds a little bit of a nerve flossing phenomena, especially important if you're really suffering from sciatica. And slowly changing legs, reaching the other leg to the sky, again, really mindful of that neutral pelvis. I like to really ground my bottom leg too, as opposed to bending the knee, because it helps one really focus on that neutral spine. Bending and straightening to target the hamstring, and then floating the head and shoulders up. A little bit of flexion in the spine again to kind of floss those nerves, because they do run all the way up and down your spine. And finally, we're coming onto all fours and gently sinking back into a child's pose. Really nothing better than child's pose to gently reset the nervous system, which is really keyed up if you're having nerve pain. Just taking some deep breaths into your back ribs here, really feeling the back body expand, sending breath into your kidneys, feeling all this elongation to the tailbone. Walk your hands over to the right for a few breaths, and then the left. You can go much more slowly than I did here. And then we're gonna take the spine into a few cat-cows, initiating from the tail and really making sure the vertebrae all curve in relation to one another. That is, you're not putting most of the curve in just one part of your back. So really trying to curve equivalently. And after cat-cow, we're gonna go ahead and explore lateral folding. So kind of almost pretending like your spine is a jump rope and drawing circles with your ribs around your pelvis. This is so nice, again, not only for the back, but also for the nerves. And don't worry about this being like the perfect form or the perfect choreography. An approximation is more than enough. We're gonna step one foot forward and come into a deep rotation towards the lifted foot. Splitting the arms open helps kind of apply that rotation all the way up into your rib cage, not just the hips. This is one of those ones that kind of only pays off when you've been doing it for a few days. A couple of times isn't gonna really show you a huge difference, but you'll feel a lot better through the hips and back when it becomes a regular part of your routine. And finally, we're gonna finish up here with the old-fashioned version of mermaid, which I find in some ways is a bigger QL stretch. So you're just keeping your legs stacked as you come into a side bend. A couple of deep breaths into the ribs. And again, I'm moving much more quickly than I would recommend here, just so that I fit everything in. I really hope that helps.